welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. Strange day, strange time, but hey, these are strange times indeed. Welcome everybody to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I'm Tom Connors. With me is the boss man, Andre, tonight. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, thank you, and greetings everyone, and thanks for having me, I must say, since we're not on the main channel.
Yeah, it's pretty late for you, so we appreciate you stopping by for a little bit. We also have our resident script doctor with us.
Good evening and good afternoon for those of you tuning in. Hello, how is everybody?
Thank you for being here, sir. And Rob may be by sooner or later. Who knows? He it's a little early for him. I think he's eating supper. But yeah, we didn't do a show yesterday. As you saw, we dropped a huge interview on the main channel. Isn't that right, Andre?
We did. So if you haven't seen it yet, go check out with our interview with Fredrik Malmberg, who, to be clear, is the ultimate owner of both the Conan the Barbarian IP and the Robert E. Howard estate at large. And there are some amazing insights of hitherto unknown information being revealed there. So do check that out if you haven't seen it yet.
Why don't you drop a nugget on the folks here real quick in case they're curious what might be some of the goodies that are in that interview. Like, one of the big things I know that I wanted to talk about was an interesting bit about one of the possible stars we almost got is Conan. That was a bit interesting to find out.
You're referring to when Vin Diesel was almost Conan?
Vin Conan.
So yeah, it's so interesting who they had as names attached, and especially behind the scenes as director. All the great directors that were attached at one point,
and the not so great ones,
and the not so great ones, and the absolutely worst one that we ended up with.
Yeah, I mean, you got to stop and think: would Brett Ratner had been worse?
Yeah. I mean, Vin Diesel.
I don't know.
I don't know that he would have been.
Then again,
I don't know that he would have been worse.
Then
if
again,
he asked us to point and shoot, maybe he'd be good. But
I was going to say, I don't know.
Script involvement, I would say no.
Was he that involved in the script of X-Men 3, though?
Kinda.
He was a little bit. I mean, he shifted around some stuff in there.
Oh, wow. We got a massive super chat right off the bat. Thank you so much, Sister Harold. Says, Hail Mead, keep up the good work. Not catching live streams as much nowadays. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Sister Harold. Hopefully you're not working too much. But we always leave them at least unlisted. If not, we also have the Midnight's Edge archive now for all the live streams from the main channel. So do make sure you just subscribe there to catch up on anything you may have missed. Otherwise, I always leave these up for at least a week or two before they go unlisted, and then they just get put into the Midnight's Edge After Dark playlist. So you can always catch up if not, but we appreciate the donation, and it always helps keep the lights on here, especially at Midnight's Edge After Dark, because yeah, we're we're just the little guy compared to some of the bigger guys now.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, thank you, Sister Harrow, for your support. That is most appreciated.
Absolutely. We got a raging Rhino in the chat. How you doing, Rhino? How you doing, Dr. Coffnails? Great one, Mr. Ghostly, Robert, all you guys in the chat. We appreciate you being here. Max Powers, Cesario, JPN, K. John Boom. Always glad to see you. Pod Racing Palpatine as well. All right. Arnie did good. Oh yeah, Arnie did great as Conan. I mean, really, that's the thing, is finding somebody to live up to his iconicness. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I laughed a little bit whenever I heard Vin Diesel as Conan, because I remember when the Chronicles of Riddick movies were being kind of developed, they were pitched as Conan the Barbarian in space. And I'm like, oh, he's already got his Conan thing. Did they really want to, throw him in, Conan's timeline instead of have all the cool sci-fi stuff around?
I can't picture Vin Diesel with hair or in a good movie. So
he was in hair and had hair for like the first minute in the Chronicles of Riddick. He was running through, I think, the snowy wilderness or something like that.
I mean, he also had hair in his pre-acting videos of like when he was doing breakdancing in New York or something.
Yes.
It looked pretty weird.
Yeah, it looked odd. Yeah.
Right. But no, like, and I remember you ever see a Street Shark video where he's selling those toys? Andre?
No, I remember the Street Sharks, but I never saw that video.
Oh God, it's bad. Let me see if I can find it here super quick.
I remember the cartoon show. That was also pretty bad. Chewing up pavement all over the city. Gosh.
Yeah, I never really saw it because like I was a wrong age group. My brother, he was a huge fan of it at the time. and then he completely forgot about it. And then suddenly he remembered it, and then he was like, what the hell was wrong with us?
Yeah, it was one of those many Ninja Turtle ripoffs that was funny because everybody thought the Ninja Turtles were going to be the flash in the pan, but lo and behold, it was all the ripoffs that were, and the Ninja Turtles are still with us 35 years later, or almost 40 years later now.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is hilarious if you haven't seen this. It's only like a minute.
Yeah, go for it.
We're looking at Boomer. This is Boomer.
Let me see if I can get some more volume on this. Oh, that's why it's turned way down. There we go.
What are we looking at here? We're looking at Boomer. This is Boomer. He's got the biggest mouth of them all. He's the whale shark. Say hello to that round mound of pound and his power slam. Very deadly. Oh. He loves to tenderize the competition before he eats them. Then we've got Sledge the Hammerhead. Sledge the Hammerhead loves to floor the competition with the flying headbutt. You got me? He's the leader of the Street Sharks. He's a great warrior. He's got the real shark skin, and his special power is the right hand roundhouse punch. He sends the competition to a watery grave. Boom! Death. I want to show you something up close and personal. I've got something here with such fantastic detail, it's going to blow you away. Head shark!
He said fantastic, not vintastic, just to be clear.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
How famous was Vin Diesel in 1994?
Not very.
No, they thought people were talking about weird types of gas instead of an actor when his name was brought up. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I fill my truck up with Vin Diesel all the time. It's way cheaper.
My car is a diesel car, so no complaints from me. So
Really?
oh yeah,
Oh yeah, burning clean.
Don't see a lot of diesel cars here. We see a lot of trucks, but not cars.
yeah.
But speaking of blasts from the past, I think that's a segue perfectly into our big main story. This has been heating up, even though we've been talking about this quite a bit, Andre. It seems that the Marvel multiverse, at least on the Spider-Man side of things, is really starting to heat up. And our good friend Mikey Sutton may have been onto with something again, as usual.
As usual, yeah. Because for those that have been watching our live shows, we haven't made a video specifically about this, but we have mentioned it when we've gotten like questions and super chats and stuff. That oh yeah, just wait for Spider-Verse. That after Spider-Man 3 comes a pure Spider-Verse movie, and it's being set up earlier. That was what we always heard, and now lately we've gotten all kinds of confirmation that that's exactly what they're doing. So just like DC, that's going the multiverse route, so is Marvel. So presumably every single Marvel movie that happened before happened somewhere in a parallel dimension. And some of those parallel dimensions are going to be brought into this one. So yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah, we also got...
Cool, but I'm curious to hear what you think.
Well, we've got this news here about the Dr. Octopus returning as Alfred Molina's version anyway. And we also got word, of course, before about Jamie Foxx. There's also word that dropped today that Kristen Dunst and Andrew Garfield, I guess, are signed, but they're still working on Tobey Maguire.
Oh shit! But we need Tobey Maguire. From my point of view, he's the important one. Like if you've seen the Spider-Verse animated movie. Now I know that Tom is not a huge fan of it, but I think it's amazing, and that role of the older Spider-Man there, that can't be Andrew Garfield. If it is, that'll ruin the whole movie. It needs to be Tobey Maguire.
Well, and my issues with the Spider-Verse are, well, I don't know if they're well documented.
They're different than that.
It has mainly to do with how they treated the old Peter Parker, how they made Miles Morales even more like Peter Parker, even though in the comics they went to great lengths to make him less like Peter Parker. I didn't like the animation style. I hated the jerkiness of it and everything being out of focus.
And that's all fair.
Had a stop-motion aspect to it.
And then there's a lot of other things. Like in that third act, it really falls apart. Like Aunt May having a bat cave, all the business there. And it just, I don't know. The whole thing just to me was just nonsensical. And I liked it the first time when it was called, Turtles Forever. And they also did an episode of it in Spider-Man in the 90s series that was, to my recollection, a bit better as well. And I'm not a fan of, I really hate redundant characters. I'm not a fan of Superboy. I'm not a fan of Supergirl per se. I don't like, Speedy. I hate when you have 20 sidekicks that have all the same name, or I'm not a big fan of the Bat family. You know what I mean? I don't mind Robin so much. I mean, that's because he was kind of the original sidekick and he's kind of his own thing. But after that, that's all you got was a bunch of sidekicks that were just basically miniature versions of the original character. And to me, it was just a precursor to this crap we got now with Riri Williams.
Yeah, that's absolutely a fair complaint. But still, I had fun with that movie. So
I understand people who did. Yeah,
I see all your complaints, and I can't argue with them. I just thought that the movie was fun. But that's just my
yeah. I mean,
Twitter does
for that first 2 minutes. It had the most interesting interpretation of Spider-Man I'd ever seen in the form, which is voiced by Chris Pine, a Spider-Man that had his act together, who knew how to balance his superheroics with his personal life and make things all work out. A guy who kind of learned from the mistakes he made. And I wanted to see that Spider-Man. You never get to see that Spider-Man really in the comics and in cartoons and films. You always see him kind of bouncing back to square one by the end of every adventure. Yeah. So I really like seeing that. And when they killed him off, it's like, no. And okay, I'm going to have to buy into the rest of this story now.
Well, and go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, what I was just going to say is I agree with Andre. You kind of have to get Tobey Maguire back. He would be the linchpin to this thing because he would be the 20-year veteran Spider-Man. And I would be surprised if part of the stipulation is that Tobey's probably not going to make a decision unless he knows he can get back into shape for the role in the time that's required.
Right. Well, and I'm sure
it would be more fun if he didn't get back into shape.
I think it would be more fun as well, but remember, we're dealing with actors and their ego.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then you add in there's supposed to be this big announcement tomorrow. I got to imagine they're scrambling to try and get this deal done so they can make this huge announcement tomorrow.
Yeah, it would be that would be massive. It can be so many cool things there. But as for me, I would love for that. But seriously, we need Tobey Maguire because I never liked. This is my quirk, but I never liked Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Never. I didn't like him from the moment I saw him. I thought he has the wrong look, and from what I've seen of him before, he has the wrong quirks. And I'm very worried about what kind of Peter Parker that he was going to be. And when I saw the movie, I know that those movies have their fans, and some people swear by him as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I don't. I thought he was utter crap. So I liked his costume in the second movie, but him I will not miss. And I'm if he has the mentor role, that's just gonna kill it because that mumbling shy freak can't mentor anyone to anything.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield just, I don't know. I mean, I know he has his fans, but
Peter Parker's not like the hipster kid that skateboards and stuff. He's the guy that, is lucky if he can get his locker open in school without being body checked into it by Flash Thompson or something, He's right. He's the ultimate underdog who, as soon as he throws on that costume, becomes, an alpha male. or at least his interpretation of an alpha male, because he makes a lot of dumb mistakes, which is part of his appeal in the comics. And that's what makes him kind of really alluring, and the fact that he's trying to figure it out on his own, and he doesn't have anyone other to confide in, really, aside from the memory of his Uncle Ben to sort of keep him on track.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like you said, he's just too cool for school. That's the problem with Andrew Garfield, is he's not.
Well, that's Alex Kurtzman for you, right? He can't make your heroes who they are. You got to reinvent them so that you put your own stamp on it in a far more definitive way than what you were charged with doing, which is being a steward for these characters.
He thought you said stank, not stamp. That's why it turned out the way it did.
You're probably right.
When Kevin Smith is bitching about your movie, you've got a bad movie on your hands. Because that's what the only thing I remember Kevin Smith saying about the Amazing Spider-Man movies was that Andrew Garfield was on the phone too much. Like, he is constantly on the phone in those movies. But anyway, Mr. Tickle Trunk sends in a super sticker. It's the fartin' dog. We appreciate it with the little hearts. Thank you so much. Miguel Hernandez sent in a $2 super chat. So will Dolph Lundgren be back as Punisher? Oh, one can hope. An old awesome. Gruff Punisher? That'd be awesome.
Honestly, that would not surprise me in the slightest if he was back. And if Ray Stevenson was back. I think the one that's going to be the most difficult to get back is Tom Jane. He's not going to be too difficult to get back either. But if they want to get all the Punishers back, they can easily.
As long as Dolph Lundgren's first line is, "I can't believe I lived this long."
Well, they have a problem with the Punishers. They got to wait a little bit longer to get the rights back. But yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So they can't use the Punisher just yet. But down the line, I would not be surprised in the slightest to see them in a multiverse cameo.
Yeah.
Because again, like Ray Stevenson, he already reprised the role in animation. Tom Jane did a fan flick. And Lundgren, he's spoken fondly of the role before. So I'm sure if the money is right, he'll be very happy to return.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure since Dolph Lundgren's done Kindergarten Cop 2, he'll do just about anything. Mark C. sent in a $10 super chat, says, the interview with Conan's IP holder was very interesting. If you talk again, is it possible to get details on the failed animated Conan Red Nails to be voiced by Ron Perlman?
Absolutely. I can tell you exactly what happened with it right now. We didn't cover it there because we just covered so much ground that I meant to bring it up at some point, but the time just ran out for us. But I know the answer already, and I can tell you. The answer is very simple. It was that the production company ran out of money because they were funding it in stages. They set out without having all of the money in place. They had part of the money so that they could get the cast in. They could do like a little reel. But when push come to shove, they failed to get the money to actually complete the project. And so it never happened. Because the production company never got the money that they thought they were going to get. That's it. There's no bigger mystery to it.
There you go. And Venom Snake sends in an Australian $2.99, says, Tom, police enforced COVID vaccine is coming. Well, I hope you're not right. But you never know with
I don't think it's going to be police enforced. I think it's going to be enforced every other way. I think it's going to be enforced in you can't go to a concert, you can't go to a cinema, you can't do anything unless you can show your resident ID card or something saying that you've gotten it. You need your vaccination card. Forget about taking a flight or something. That's how I think it's going to be enforced. I don't think that they're going to come to your door and force you to take it, and especially not in America. Too many guns. In Europe, they could very well do that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Let's hope not anyway. But Cavatino Shea brings up a point here that I was thinking about as well, because I also remember another thing I saw that I totally forgot about. Why not bring back Wesley Snipes' Blade too? That might be how they get Wesley back to the table. Because if anybody remembers us talking about that back when that first happened, we said what was going on, and it all pretty much worked out the way that we had reported it. And yeah, Wesley walked away because he did not want to play anything but Blade. And when they went a different direction, he walked away from the table. But they have been, from what I heard, desperately trying to get him in some way involved, and this may open that door to him playing Blade. Because I also heard Thomas Hayden Christensen's going to be back as Sandman as well. I don't know if that was confirmed or not, but I mean, we're looking at a pretty big deal.
The gangs are all coming. The gangs all coming back again. Like, why wouldn't they? Like, you look at all the people they're getting. So why wouldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, I know originally my guy told me they were looking at possibly trying to talk Wesley into playing the Whistler role in the new Blade, but he was not. He was not.
He's not down for that.
No, what he wanted to do, what the original plan was from what I was told, was they were going to do the daughter of Blade, and he was going to be Blade again.
Oh, cool.
But then when that changed, he did not want to play anything but Blade, and so he walked away. Welcome, Rob. You're late.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there was a chicken crossing the road, and
was it trying to get to the other side?
No. Well, not if I could help it. So
you're fired. You're unfired. I need you. Come here.
I hope you plucked it and you cooked it, and that's why you're late.
Oh yeah. I keep thinking about when I used to watch wrestling. Freddie Blassie, was on with Kamala, the Ugandan giant. He goes, "What?" He brought a chicken out. He goes, "What's that chicken doing? He's gonna do his disappearing act. Watch." And Kamala was chasing him around the studio, and they cut the commercial. And he came back, he had feathers in his mouth. Eat him, Kamala.
I can see you doing that. Mark C sends in a $5 super chat. I'm a frontline worker helping build our internet and mobile network. We are already hearing rumors of having to take the vaccine to keep our jobs. Yeah,
there you go. There you go. That's exactly what I mean.
I think the scarier thing is going to be forcing kids to take it to go to school.
There might be some violations in some certain countries' constitutional laws with regards to compulsion of certain actions.
You know what? And that's going to be completely ignored unless there's a massive outcry from the populace. I mean, the Constitution really is being set aside, not just in the States, but many places on this. So it'll be interesting to see. But that just goes back to what I was saying, that they're not gonna come to your door and force you to take it, but they're going to find like other things. And in some professions, they're going to be like, take this or you're fired. Like for instance, health professionals.
Yeah, I'm sure all law enforcement, health professionals, all that stuff.
But also anyone that works in construction, any handy workers, anyone that can't work from home,
public utility, all librarians and stuff. Yeah,
I would not be surprised if they get the ultimatum, take this or face termination. I would not be surprised if that were to happen. Not saying that's a good thing, but yeah.
Spider-Man, yada yada yada. Is this really a good idea? Making.
Well, here's the thing I wanted to jump to next, and I mean, Rob, I don't know if you're all up to date, but the news going around is they've signed Kristen Dunst, Andrew Garfield, Alfred Molina. Obviously, we knew about Jamie Foxx. I heard word about Thomas Hayden Christensen, and they're also saying that they're trying to nail down Tobey Maguire. But what was it? Sony's Latin page from Twitter. What was it? Yesterday or day before, accidentally dropped that they had all three Spider-Men. So there's a rumor that that's probably all. I'm thinking it's like just last minute negotiations are still being pinned down, is my guess. But that's kind of where we're at right now, talking about this. And we brought up, the possibilities of other Marvel characters as well. But I think the funny thing about this, and the reason I wanted to have Andre here to talk about this, is I believe all this is going to start getting set up in the Doctor Strange 2, directed by the one and only Sam Raimi. Does that kind of make sense? And are things kind of coming together for you now to kind of see where this is all kind of? Because at first, when I remember hearing, Sam Raimi's directing Doctor Strange, it's like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. But don't you think you'd bring him in for something a bit bigger?
Yeah, and of course, you were completely right in thinking that. Hang on a little bit. There's like a multiverse thing going on here. Could we see like Maguire? Like, you were the first one that I know to make that connection. because I didn't. I was just like thinking, oh wow, we're gonna get like something really, really cool, like something Army of Darkness level again. That's kind of like what I was thinking that the movie was going to be. I didn't instantly make the connection with multiverse, bring on Sony Spider-Man, but obviously that's what's going to happen. I think that's extremely likely.
Well, yeah, it's exactly what I said. Is you don't bring, somebody like him in just to do Doctor Strange. It just didn't make sense to me.
Well, I guess it would when they have to have like some when they just lost a shit ton of goodwill by losing the original director or the director from the original movie. And then bringing someone like Sam Raimi, that instantly turned things around. And Doctor Strange, that's something that in the right hands can be a visual feast and can be something incredibly cool. So I was not at all surprised by them bringing in Sam Raimi for that, to be honest. I don't think that's underneath him or anything.
Let me give you a different scenario. It was not that Sam Raimi was brought in. It was that Sam Raimi was there to begin with, and the other director got pushed out.
That I would not be surprised.
That's what I'm starting to think was the situation.
Yeah.
And I think that was just at the moment and I think all this probably went down when they redid the Sony deal. That's my guess now, is all this kind of culminates there. Because as we always say on these shows, anything we're hearing now, none of these deals happened yesterday. They've all been in the works for a while. And my guess is a lot of this started and stems way back from Disney and Sony sitting down at the table and going, look, we got to plan this out going forward. We can't have any more of this bullshit. Because like we reported, Sony kept their mouth shut for 6 months and didn't talk to Disney. That's pretty unprecedented in this kind of business. Wouldn't you say, Script?
Pretty much, yes. Considering the fact that they're kind of juggling with the Spider-Man property, you'd think that open communications would be to their advantage. But yeah, as soon as we heard that they stopped talking, that raised an eyebrow, because it meant that Sony had plans of their own, and Marvel wasn't getting any movement from that edgewise.
So yeah, Andre, what's your take on this? And then I want to hear what Rob has to say about it.
I agree. He came together very quickly as well, didn't he? So I'm inclined to agree that, there was absolutely something going on there. I would have loved to be a fly in the wall and get the full story of what was going on.
What would be weird is if we find out that Amy Pascal is responsible for most of this.
Well, even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Well, that was one thing she always was known for, was her ability to get talent. So
yeah.
I thought it was her ability to break clocks. So
no, it's throw sandwiches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But yeah, no, she was good at attracting talent. There's no denying that. She was so good at spelling, but as long as you have a good secretary.
And a little racist,
Yeah, that too. Should have said what she said about Obama.
Really,
that was pretty hilarious. He was like, he's black. Do you think so he must like our slave movie, don't you think?
Gosh.
So good times. Yeah. Good times.
The thing that you want to say with your inner voice, you don't want to say with your out loud voice.
You certainly don't want to put it in writing.
Yeah. And the worst part about it is that we didn't realize all that time that she meant Django, not the other one.
Oh,
that was a joke.
12 years.
They are both Sony Pictures, though. So
yeah.
If anybody remembers when Django came out, oh my God, did the world end for that? Holy shit! Mark C sends with we already got that one. Sorry, Mark C. Or so did I say? Thank you, Mark C. I know we had another couple here pop in though. Here they are. Dark King 616 says, with the demise of theaters, the secondary market of DVDs, etc., all will be important. Could we see the return of good DVD extras to make them appealing? That's a very good question, Dark King. In fact, it's such a good question that we're going to have an entire discussion about that we've been planning on for a while. And the short version, I don't know. I really don't think physical media is going to make a comeback. And not because of anything other than just the studios are not going to get behind it anymore. There's no fiscal reason to.
They have 20 years of numbers that say it's not to their advantage. Sadly.
Well, just even as cheap as it is to produce a DVD, it's that much cheaper to release it digitally. That's the thing.
Exactly. I mean, there's additional money going into investing to special features and behind the scenes stuff as well. That they just don't need to. They just don't need to do it anymore, really.
I mean, Robert Meyer Burnett is one who we really want to talk to about this, because he was one of the pioneers in that industry as far as, the special editions and making sure there's all kinds of great extras for people. And back then that was a selling point.
Yeah.
But the studios got to a point where they just cut out a lot of that business. And that's another reason why DVDs and Blu-rays look like shit lately, especially packaging-wise and everything else, because guys who handle like the advertising and stuff like that do that now. They used to have departments for it. Like Rob Meyer Burnett has never said how much, but he said he made quite a bit of money doing that kind of stuff. So it was a pretty big industry for a short while.
It was really lucrative at the time, but what ended up happening is, I guess, towards the closer to the 2010s, is when the studios realized, like, hey, the special features aren't much of a selling option as they thought originally. So let's start winding those down and not investing as much into them. And slowly over the years, they dismantled it to the point where there's pretty much zero, unless the production really wants it. Yeah.
Then you got licensing issues and all kinds of other business that goes in with it. So again, like, I have a feeling unless things like that Mandalorian series, behind the scenes series, did really well for Disney, I don't see them really adding any extras to their stuff.
They're doing that for content primarily.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they've got they've got the cut version of Empire Dreams and a few other features on there, but like Robert was like upset that like his big documentary from the Tron DVD didn't make its way on there, and it should have. It's a great documentary. I mean, and that's what I think we're missing on a lot of these services, and that's really what gives me pause, and why I generally tend to go to obviously more than the obvious reason, go to the physical media, is just because, special features and stuff, man. Like, I want the commentary. I want the deleted scenes. I want the making of. I want all these good things. I like it, especially when they put together a very nice package. I mean, again, like Star Wars has been one that has never, ever, like, of all the times Lucas has released that, he's never put together a complete package. There's been several documentaries, famous ones, that have never been added to the sets, including most famously from Star Wars to Jedi, which is one of the more well-known ones that for some reason has never made its way onto the sets, but I think I know why, because that's one of the documentaries where George says a lot of things that he's revised down the road.
Yeah.
That would be a reason. For instance, this thing about, I had this vision of a trilogy the whole time, which was complete and total bull crap. Or the same with, I imagined
the prequels and stuff.
The prequels the whole time, which was all even more bull crap. It's like very nice to go back and remove the statements that prove what you said later to. Basically it proves that you were faring in bullcrap.
Not only that, I think that's the famous documentary that has his speech where he goes, "Special effects are just a tool. Special effects without a story isn't anything."
Yeah, that's
the other reason why I think.
I mean, it's really better to his credit to say, like, I didn't have a plan, but I'm such a good storyteller, I was able to make up these extra entries as I went, and they actually worked. Like, that's far more impressive than saying I had a plan from the very beginning.
Right. And I think that might even be the same documentary where I talk about where he said he did not make Leia the sister until the throne room fight scene where he was writing it.
Yep.
And he had no reason for Luke to come out of hiding, because Luke was refusing to fight Vader, and he needed a motivation for Luke. And he's like, well, maybe I'll turn your sister. And he's like, all right, I'll make Leia the sister. That's
like,
it.
I'll turn her sister. He's like, I don't know who my sister is yet at that point, because he had plans. Like at Jedi, he actually had planned for another trilogy where it was Luke and his sister fight the Emperor, because the Emperor wasn't going to be in Return of the Jedi at that point. And then, the Directors Guild he had the issues with them after Empire. He had a falling out with his wife, and all that went to a mess. And he basically said, that's it with Jedi. I can't do another Star Wars film right now. I'm going to be a dad. I'm going to focus on being a producer. Return of the Jedi is going to tie everything up, and that's what he did. And that's why
Howard the Duck is the key to all this.
Howard the Duck's the key to all this. That's why it's, I would say it's half of an amazing film and half of an okay film combined into one. But
are you talking about Howard, you mean?
Mostly I was Howard.
Just kidding,
a little bit of Return of the Jedi.
No, okay, I was going to say, okay, yeah. Return of the Jedi, he was...
But there is another documentary out there. Like, I mean, I'm sorry I'm promoting not really another YouTube channel, but another creator. His name is SF Debris. He does a massive documentary on the making of Star Wars, the original Star Wars trilogy, goes into all the George Lucas stories and stuff. A lot of the things that have not been spoken out loud unless you know someone in the business, like some of the stories I heard from one of my teachers who used to work for George Lucas on Maniac Mansion and a couple other productions. So, like, he nails his research, and you actually get a really detailed picture of exactly what George Lucas was going through at the time, what his intentions were, how he solved problems.
Is that the one that's called The Story of Star Wars or whatever, and he does each one, and then he goes through and it's like almost like a commentary, but then it goes into deleted scenes and all kinds of other stuff throughout?
It does that, but it's basically like he frames it in titles like the hero's journey. So he's got the hero's journey, the shadow's journey, and all these other things. So I strongly recommend checking that out. It's not really on YouTube. It's on his personal webpage.
Okay, maybe I haven't seen it then. That's not the one I'm thinking of then.
It's a fantastic thing. I think it's a total of like 6 hours in length. It's very long. And
I don't know. The one I'm talking about, people actually threw on the Despecialized edition.
Specialized, yeah.
So maybe
that's a different one, but that's a fantastic one also.
Yeah, okay, then that's a different one. All right, I'll have to check out that one then. But yeah, thank you for that super chat. You got your money's worth for that one. So the sushi guy sends in some Corona here, Andre, 50 of them.
Nice.
This is for you. He says, Andre, I'm from Norway. Do you think the government is going to force us to take vaccines, or will it be optional? By the way, love the show, guys. Well, thank you so much, Sushi Guy. What do you think, Andre?
I think that it's probably going to be optional for adults, but I fear they're going to make it mandatory for school children really soon. You see, our government is all in on the agenda. If you look at our Minister of Health and you look at like the pin that he's wearing, he has like the UN logo and World Health Organization insignia all over him. Not the Norwegian flag. No. It's all in on the agenda. So I think that it's going to be voluntary for adults, but it's going to be with so many restrictions. Like, for instance, as we mentioned before, anyone working in health, they're going to be required to take it. Anyone working in any kind of services where you interact with people, they're probably going to be required to take it. And if you ever want to go to a plane again, if you want to go to a concert again, you're probably going to have to produce some kind of documentation that you have taken the vaccine.
Which just means more money for the government for a bureaucratic department to oversee this, which I'm personally against, because I don't think governments should be compelling its citizens to do anything, because they're representatives of the people. If they want to make an argumentative case, let them make the argument and let us be as informed as possible so that we can make the choices to our best interest, because that's the relationship that a self-governing society should have, if I'm understanding it correctly, which I hope I am.
No, you're understanding how it should be. But whether or not it actually is like that is a completely different matter. And you have like certain politicians that aren't there to serve the people. On the contrary, they have the opinion that the people in the country are there to serve them. And we have a lot of those politicians in our government in Norway. And you have many of them in the States as well. I don't know about Canada, but you definitely have them in the States.
It's a mixed bag in Canada for sure.
And that is going to get a million times worse if the election result sticks.
Yeah. All right, let's get away from the politics here. I'm going to do these a little bit out of order, but there is a method to my madness. Eskimo Nofono says, rip special features for movies. Yeah, sadly, outside of a few exceptions, I really do feel like we've seen the last of the big special editions, but there will be some. I know Peter Jackson's planning another big version of the Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff, so Anything to say to that, Andre, or you guys? Or
I have one thing to say
Sure.
to it. Everyone that's a fan of physical media and special features, you want to check out German special releases. And I say this not as a German, but as a Norwegian that only gets by in German so. But the Germans have the best freaking special editions out there. And they only do them for select movies, because you have like some distribution companies in Germany, and they make the most incredible editions, and some of them eventually find their way both to the States and the UK, but they started out as German special editions. Both Reanimator and the Dolph Lundgren Punisher are examples of this. And there's so many movies.
Yeah, I've imported
so many awesome special editions. So do check out German Blu-ray releases for your fix in physical media and special features.
Yeah, I imported The Punisher, and I think my Mario Brothers might be the German release too, if I'm not mistaken. It might be the Italian one, though. I'm not 100%. But yeah, like Mario Brothers has never been released on Blu-ray in the US. It's only been released once, I think, on DVD, and it was a really crappy Laserdisc rip, if I remember correctly. But there's a lot of great ones I've imported. There's a lot of times there's movies that just aren't available here in the US that are, for some reason, overseas, like Small Soldiers, not available on Blu-ray here, but I imported it. So there you go.
Yeah.
All right. And then we had Mark C again talking about the vaccine. Says, issue with the vaccine is its nanotech delivery system. What is the probability that such technology can be used to track humans? Yeah, there is.
It needs a power source, and your immune system will destroy it.
Well, you gonna say, Rob?
You already have a device that tracks you.
Yeah,
exactly.
You've got the mobile phone,
and you paid $800 for it, for the privilege.
Yeah.
Well, I got mine for free.
Yeah. I don't buy into like any nanotech things in the vaccine at all, not in the slightest. But you already have that tracking device. As I said, you have that on you already.
Exactly.
And,
you shouldn't be worried about being chipped, because number one, like you can't make a computer chip out of surgical steel, and that's the only thing the body can't destroy over time. And even if you were to encase it in surgical steel, it still can't transmit. So, I mean, that defeats that purpose. So you don't have to worry about that as of yet until they come up with some sort of biological chip, which, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty sure some crazy person's working on that. But don't worry about that type of conspiracy theory with vaccines at this point. You have to worry about your mobile phones and people watching you through a Kinect or your TV or something of that nature.
I always feel like somebody's watching me. Yeah. David Hervey sends in $5. Says, do you guys think this pandemic will help push some of this forward, considering a lot of celebs are struggling these days? I think that celebrities might take a few more opportunities than, or studios may take a bit more opportunities with actors than they used to. Script, what do you think?
That's a good question. I mean, one thing that I hope comes out of this is just kind of a reining in on the expenses with regards to talent. Because wages with crew and setup and set construction and costuming, they haven't really changed much. They've gone with a proper scale over time with inflation, but salaries for actors and directors and some producers that are involved have really ballooned out there.
Yeah.
And it's made them so exclusive to the point where, because they don't guarantee that box office return, and because they don't have to worry about the box office anymore, and it's all about maintaining a subscriber count on a streaming service, they could probably go to the old model of making brand new stars on the cheap for their shows, and it would actually open up opportunities for newer actors or character actors to finally get some reputation, and also compel the higher budgeted or the higher paid actors to sort of be a bit more open to doing roles just to maintain the work, so they don't have to be so selective as they were prior.
I see a lot of things, and I don't know, Andre, Rob, you can chime in here too if you want. I see a lot of things I see them doing it a lot like they do these superhero movies. It's basically you do the first one for us, and then you get paid the next few down the line, unless you're, of course, Captain Marvelous. But of course, like Henry Cavill, what's his face who plays
Robert
Captain
Downey
America,
Jr. got paid peanuts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they all got like scale basically, or scale and a half for the first movie, and then down the road is when they got the big paydays. And I think that's the way it's going to have to run from now on. You're not going to be able to give your Johnny Depps the $90 million up front, or your Will Smiths and all that stuff. They're going to have to take the little bit, less of a payday up front, maybe be an executive producer and get a little bit more money that way. And then if the movie's actually a hit or the show is actually a hit, then you hit up Netflix or whoever you're working with for more money. I think is kind of going to be the way it's going to go. Because I don't see them functioning any other way. Because as we pointed out millions of times, the actors are probably the number one thing on any of these budgets that is the big ballooned thing. When you're spending $30-40 million for a big name actor, that's 2/3 of your budget.
Yeah, you can make 2 good movies with that money without them if you wanted to.
Andre, did you have anything to say? I know you got to get rolling here soon.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to add to what you've already said. So yeah, the experts have spoken.
Rob, anything? Nope. I think he's dead.
Nope, not really.
Rob, when are you going to be announced as Kingpin? Captain Hare wants to know.
Oh, jeez. On the 13th day, the 13th hour of the 13th day of the 13th month.
Rob is too small. He'd be better as an Italian plumber jumping on turtles. That is the role for Rob. If there was ever a role.
Can he grow a mean mustache?
I hate to see that.
I saw him. He talks about being this fat guy and all this shit, and I meet him in real life, and it's like, fucking dude's Mario without a mustache. I probably look more like Kingpin standing next to him.
all he needs to cover all is the hat and the mustache.
Exactly, you do. That's all you got to do for Halloween, Rob, next year. That's all you got to do. You don't have to do jack shit.
Red overalls.
Just grow a mustache. Yeah. Grow a mustache and you're good to go. Tiberius Monk says with a $5 super chat, I am concerned this third Spider-Man film has too many ideas competing with each other, just like Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3. I hope this film is successful. Yeah, Andre, this is one I really wanted to get your opinion on before you had to take off here on, do you think this is going to be too bloated of an idea, or do you think they're going to spread it out nicely between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man 3?
I think they're going to spread it out nicely. And I think that many of the people that we're seeing now coming back, I don't think they're going to have any big parts. I think most of them are going to be like cameos, like 2 minutes of screen time, if that. Some of them maybe even be like flash on the screen, like that they have like some kind of like in the first Doctor Strange, how you had like this fight scene between sorcerers and they kept on like jumping from location to location. I kind of like imagine that you would have a similar scene where you jump from universe to universe and you suddenly see, oh whoa, there's Dr. Octopus, oh whoa, there's that guy. I think that many of the roles are simply going to be like that, and that they're going to focus in on a few core characters. Now, to me, the key to making the whole movie work is to have Tobey Maguire be the real star, and have Andrew Garfield in a lesser role. If they reverse that, if Andrew Garfield has the bigger role, again, that's because I don't like him. So, but that, to me at least, that would mess the movie up. But I think that if you stick to a few core characters and have everyone else kind of like appear without messing it up, and I think that they can do that. So honestly, I'm not too worried about that. I think the film can be a success. A bigger question is where it's going to be released. But we'll see that when we get so far.
I think the deal with Sony now has it to where, because I believe all the Spider-Man movies from here on forward are going to go on Disney Plus, but I could be wrong. But one thing I do got to say that I think would be interesting is if Andrew Garfield is the perfect Spider-Man they kill in the beginning, especially if they rip off the Spider-Verse almost verbatim.
Yeah.
If you're going to get rid of one, get rid of him.
Yeah, he only had 2 movies. He's got the least amount of play in Spider-Man compared to all the other actors. So,
and also, in my own headcanon, Andrew Garfield, he died already. He died at the very end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which in my headcanon ended Soprano style by him being killed, skewered on the rhino's horn a fraction of a second after the screen cut to black. Again, Soprano style.
There you go. Diego Flores, how you doing? Sends in that's Peruvian Souls, I believe, 6490. I also think that the current generation is too used to having everything in the palm of their hands and no longer caring of the behind the scenes, so affected sales of those special features, DVDs and Blu-rays. The other thing that affected those, you're not wrong to a point, but I think the one big thing is you're watching it right now.
Yeah.
YouTube changed that because it made it so easy for everybody to just go, and you can find almost every special feature on YouTube probably.
You know what? I will say one thing about that. If you go and you look at our interview with Fredrik Malmberg, then that's better than any extra feature that has been on any Conan DVD, Blu-ray release anywhere ever. And the same with my retrospectives on the two movies. That is, in my opinion, a better, more complete bonus feature than anything that's been there. You have so many fans on YouTube that aren't bound by studio restrictions on what you can and what you cannot say, that they actually can make better and more honest additional features. Whereas I think that also many of the bonus features, they kind of like play themselves out, because you have like, it almost became parody, many of them in the end, where you have like the cast sitting in their chairs talking about how great and visionary the director is, lying their teeth out. Like much of it was like pure fluff and promotional material that was just put on the disc. And then you had like some really genuinely great bonus features, like the one that Robert Meyer Burnett were making. But at some point, they became the exception rather than the rule. And the rule became to put in just marketing drivel. And that's only like increased the decay, I would say.
Oh, kind of like how they just dropped that recent thing for Wonder Woman 84 about the IMAX experience, and how none of them says anything that's actually relevant to IMAX.
Yeah, considering it's not going to probably play in many IMAXs, if any.
Yeah.
No, and I think you guys are correct too, and that's why I brought it up. Because I even have some precedent for this. I talked to, I'm not going to say the names, but I basically brought up to somebody who knows people at Shout. I'm like, I wonder why they didn't ask us to use our interviews with Tommy McLaughlin and Adam Marcus for the Blu-rays that just come out. And he said the same thing, but he thinks the reason is why we just said it's already available on YouTube. That's probably why. And I doubt they wanted to pay us anything either. Which I don't know if we'd really charged them. I mean, I would have looked at it as free advertising. So,
or just look at, for instance, the Hellraiser documentary that we have on.
We have the audio commentary for Pete's sake.
We have the audio commentary. That's one thing, but beyond that, like the interview with Gary J. Tunnicliffe, that beats the hell out of any Hellraiser bonus feature out there, and of them there are many. And still, in my opinion, we have the best ones, and for free right here.
Yep. And we got one more for you from Dark King, who sends an Australian $2, Norwegian government to Andre. You have been volunteered?
That's what I'm worried about.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna move to Texas and get myself a gun.
You and me both, sir.
Got a couple more super chats here real quick. JNat says, Harmy Film did an excellent job recreating the OT almost like the original theatrical versions. He's talking about Star Wars. Yeah, he did. But right now, actually, there's better versions than that out there. If you've got the hard drive space and the wherewithal to find them. But if you do, I suggest you use something like Surfshark just in case to be safe. And if you do use Surfshark, type in the word midnight to get an extra bonus on that. But yeah, they're called the 4K 77 and 4K 83. They have not got a good version of Empire yet, but they are true 4K scans of the best 35 millimeter elements they could find of Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. And they look fucking amazing. Like, I mean, I cannot express. Like, I was going off to Andre about how good they look, like compared to the Blu-rays, compared to the Harmy special editions, or non-special editions, or whatever you want to call them, despecialized editions. Like, it looks and feels like I'm watching a movie from 1977 and 1983. It feels and looks like it should. the color timing, it's got this warm, crisp feeling about it. Like I can't explain it. It just looks like it's meant to look, and like I remember Star Wars feeling. It doesn't feel so cold like the newer versions do.
Yeah, especially since they added like a completely blue freaking filter to them, didn't they, to make them look even colder? So
there's a very cold color timing to
them.
Yeah,
like you're literally getting like chills down your spine watching them, and not for any kind of good reason.
Yeah, I got all the warm fuzz. I mean, and I did with a little bit with the special despecialized editions, but sadly those are taken from all the existing elements that are out there. These are straight from a 35 millimeter prints from when the movie came out originally. So they look, the color timing, everything is exactly the way they were in 1977 and 83. And it's just, I can't imagine. I can't believe how great job
I hate it when they do that, when they go and change the color timing from one release to the other. They did that with Conan the Barbarian as well. The Blu-ray release of Conan the Barbarian, that is the director's cut, which was released for the first time on DVD in, I think, 2002. That's the one that has the commentary track from John Milius, and they changed the movie so that it has like this recorded ending from Mako when he basically reads that Conan went on to become a king, and that story shall also be told. That wasn't there in the original. They added that in 2002 when they thought that they would be making another one in the next couple of years, which obviously didn't happen. But in making that version of the movie, they changed the color timing. They removed the redness of the picture. Which I thought was frustrating, because when I compared the theatrical cut to the Blu-ray version or even the DVD version, the original picture looked so much better than what we now have available to get. Of course, the director's cut version of the movie is superior, but not the color timing.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like, is when they mess with it. And you're right. And we see a lot more so on films without even any real reason for it. And I think most of it has to do with digital. And it has to do with them going back and redoing everything. But I don't think that they're taking enough time to really make it look like it should. And they're just doing the quick, easy,
Well, it's always by the lowest bidder, right? So you get what you pay for when you go through it.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, you get some good companies that do great work. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, you'll get some of those where they decide they're going to do a bunch of, and I can tell when it's been digitally color timed. Like I remember people bitching about Terminators was another one too, that because the original film does have a blue tint to it, but the new digitized blue tint they added to it does not look the same as the original version. Something is off about it. And there was a lot of issues with that last 4K release. But anyway, I want to move on here because I know Andre's got to go. Tiberius Monk says, Dangerous Days, making Blade Runner is one of my all-time favorite special features. I hope they make a comeback. They kind of are, but they're doing it in the form of fans. I've seen, a handful now of fan-created making-ofs, going back to, our friend Andrew over at, who works on the In Search of documentaries. He was a part of You're So Cool, Brewster, which was one of the first big fan-made documentaries about movies. And then you had, the Nightmare on Elm Street series one they did, and the Friday the 13th one. And I recently got a Ghostbusters one that just come out that's really good. And like Andre was saying, these are made outside of the studio, so you don't have the interference. We just talked to Adam Marcus. He's involved with the Hearts of Darkness documentary they're making about Jason Goes to Hell. There you go. Again, another thing outside of the industry. So yeah, just like Andre was talking about, right?
Indeed.
But yeah, you have to get rolling here. Let me double check and make sure none of these have. Yeah, I don't think you're. You should be good. So thanks again, Andre, for hopping in with us. Tomorrow we have. Who do we have for tomorrow on the show? I think we're going to have Lauren Chen, but I'm not 100% sure, so I don't want to say that for sure. But I think that's the case. So do tune in tomorrow morning on Midnight's Edge in the morning, right, Andre?
Yes, absolutely. Check it out, because you never know who shows up. So
I'm pretty sure. I just don't want to say for sure. So yeah.
Except you just did. But
yeah, but again, there's only 300 people here compared to a week in the morning, so I'm not going to be too worried yet if she has to change things around. But it does sound like it's a pretty sure deal. But again, Andre, thank you so much for jumping in tonight. We appreciate having you, and getting to talk to you outside of the main channel is always a fun time and a little bit more laid back.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thanks for having me. It's been a blast as always, and have a great continued day, evening, night, wherever you are. Bye.
Thanks, Andre. We're going to keep going here. We got a couple more things to talk about, a few more super chats to get through. Let's see. Fezman says he wants to see a making of Fant 4 Stick. Why would anybody want to see that? There is a great...
see Josh Trank in his trailer.
There's a great making, though, of the unreleased Fantastic Four movie. It's a great documentary. That's
that is a great one.
So they're speaking of fan-made documentaries. Tonister Tree says Bond villains are getting too real.
You know, the sad irony is that the Bond films pretty much do lay out a step-by-step way of how to be a world-dominating villain. It's like you get a lot of people, you get a secret base somewhere, and you have a very meticulous plan to take over the world.
And then Fezman says, I missed the part where that's my problem. I'm not sure what he's referring to on that one, because that was a little bit after the fact. You don't have to send another super chat to clarify what you mean there. But yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to on that one. We got to it a little late. Sorry about that. Let's see. The next and last super chat we got here is from Miguel Hernandez. Says physical media sales started to increased at the start of COVID. A lot of folks don't have high-speed internet. I still prefer Redbox movies, no buffering. Oh yeah, this is something we brought up, but they don't care. They really don't care.
Yeah. The internet will get faster soon enough, but if they don't have to spend any more money on overhead for physical media, they won't.
Oh yeah, okay. He's doing the Spider-Man reference. I got you. Okay, you're doing the I got you now. Yeah. It took me a minute. But no, yeah. Back to the physical media thing in Miguel's. No, I get that. And red boxes aren't going anywhere. They're still going to do major Blu-ray and DVD releases and stuff like that. But the classics, we've been hearing now for a few months. I don't know if you've heard anything from your side of things, Script, on the whole deal with Disney basically not doing any more 4K classic releases of anything, in very select few on DVD and Blu-ray. I heard the rumor was that Hocus Pocus and Home Alone are going to be the last of the classic live-action releases they do, which is sad because they do have a lot of 4K masters on Disney Plus that they could just toss out there on Blu-ray, but they're not going to probably.
Yeah, I know. There's a whole there's a little bit of stirring about what's going on with the legendary Disney Vault now that Disney Plus is a thing, right? Because beforehand, it would be a movie would be within the vault for maybe 5 or 10 years, and then they'd have this massive physical media release to sort of garner a whole bunch of sales, and then they'd throw it back in the vault, and they actually had what was called like Black Diamond editions of your white clamshells for VHS and DVD and Blu-ray of their titles, which have been a thing of the past for I think about 5 years now, maybe a little bit more. And that was a big marketing strategy for Disney on the physical media side of things, because they made a lot of money on that. Because they had it down to a formula. They knew exactly like when there'd be a new generation of children that would want to watch these movies, and that the parents that would know about them in order to buy.
Every 7 years.
Yeah, it was every 7 years. Yep. And yeah,
and it was their Disney... top 20 or 30. Which was it? I can't remember, Rob.
Ooh.
But it's a select few. Not all of their Disney movies, but just a select few were in that.
No, it was usually like the biggest ones, like the guaranteed ones. So I know
Pinocchio and
it was all the Disney classics, anything that he had produced. So it was like everything from Snow White up through Robin Hood, I think.
Robin Hood was the first one without Walt. So whatever the one before that.
And I just think, well, I think everything up to Fox and the Hound was in the vault. And then
Little Mermaid went in the vault.
And then Little Mermaid got added to that, and so did the other two that came out after
Aladdin and Lion King.
And Beauty and the Beast. So
and Beauty and the Beast, yep.
And they may have included Oliver and Company in that, but I don't ever remember Oliver Company really being that out of print.
Yeah,
there was.
I remember always being able to find it,
but like after it first came out, like that may be it. The only time I remember it being kind of scarce. Because then once DVD hit, it was always available.
Yeah, well, I remember I had that one year where I worked at Blockbuster in high school, and I remember when we got the recall order from Disney themselves to say, you got to send back anything that you didn't sell of our DVDs and VHSs.
Well, and then
yeah, it was a tough thing because we'd have to throw out a big sign saying they're taking it, Disney's taking it back, come in and buy it quick because you're not going to get it for a number of years afterwards. And
Jungle Book was the last one that Walt produced before he died.
Yeah. Mark C just came in with a super chat to say that. Thank you so much.
Buddy Mike actually worked at a video store. He got a very different recall order around 1987 or so about a certain actress who told a few fibs about.
You're talking about an adult movie story, or
yeah, yes, I am.
Okay.
That was a totally different situation.
Mm-hmm. They actually get all these movies off the shelf now.
Well, it's because they became contraband.
Oh yeah,
illegal technically.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but no, that actually kind of leads us nicely into this next conversation here, because even though I was fucking right about this, this has really gotten even more fucking right because I said they're gonna have some issues here, and I thought they had worked this out, but. Evidently, HBOMax, or Warner Brothers, we should say, went and jumped the gun on this decision without really getting all their ducks in order, it seems like. Because everybody, and I mean everybody, is coming out going, what the fuck are you doing? What's going on, Script? Are you hearing anything on your end? I mean, what the hell is going on? Like, my source has gone completely silent.
I haven't heard anything yet, but I've been trying to keep up with the trades and what they're covering of this. So my understanding of this, and I might be interpreting it incorrectly, so please bear in mind. My understanding of this is that they basically HBO and AT&T and all the stuff, all the contracts for the films that were going to have theatrical release already had a streaming contract within that. And my understanding is that HBO Max just said, hey, we are bringing that part of the streaming thing up and putting it side by side with the theatrical release. So your movies are still going to get a theatrical release, but we're doing the same day, 30-day on HBO Max to try and mitigate some sort of issue. And I think a lot of the creatives behind this and all the other production companies that put up money for financing are really pissed off about this because they realize that their U.S. market, which is it's a big market, is going to be sliced down considerably. Because as we were talking yesterday with Gary Turnicliffe, yeah, there's still the foreign market with regards to the distribution out there. Those are still going to be played in theaters in various parts in Europe and China and Asia and Russia and what have you. And so they're not really going to be losing a whole lot there. But the United States is still the United States. There's a prestige to North America with regards to films. So they really do want to have that access to that market and those dollars and that reputation. But given the fact that HBO Max has a lesser subscriber count than intended, and also that you have directors like Christopher Nolan, who is all about the theater experience for more selfish reasons than reasons of the quality of his film, which, in my opinion, Tenet really did not live up to what it was set out to be. I can see them totally being really upset by this, thinking that, hey, we may have signed the contract, but this is not really the deal that's in that contract. You're playing around with its priorities, like in first window, second window type of sales. You're now having two windows being sold at the exact same time. And we know as a result, you're kind of splitting the profits as you would split the vote for a candidate, you're splitting the profits with regards to how much we're all going to be getting as a result of this.
Now I'm going to have Rob read this here, but I think this is really kind of, I think I don't think you're wrong. And I kind of said this Monday morning. I think you were on that show, Script, where I said, I think a lot of this, and I think we're going to see more of this. And I did say that then was, I think Warner Brothers or AT&T, we should be clear here. It's AT&T. Mm-hmm. Decided to do this, and they're using loopholes and a little bit of, we're doing it because of the COVID thing, but like the things I was hearing in the from my source were true, is that this is all about HBO Max. And then they really dropped the bomb by dumping everything, not just those few select films that we had discussed prior to this happening.
But the whole slate.
I think it took everybody by surprise. And I think we're seeing the proof of that right here. This is like everybody's giving them pushback, like every fucking buddy. Go ahead, Rob. Let's dive into this here real quick.
Christopher Nolan rips HBO Max as worst streaming service ever, denounces Warner Brothers' plan.
Isn't he Australian or something like that?
Christopher Nolan is British American.
Or British, that's it, yeah.
He's British American, but I kind of doubt he.
So he would say, worst streaming service ever.
Yeah.
To many insiders, Warner Media's blindsiding of talent and their reps with news that it would send 17 films directly to HBO Max in 2021 felt like an insult. For many in the movie business, producers, directors, and stars, and their representatives, December 3rd, 2020 is a day that will live in infamy. Some of our biggest industry's filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find they were working for the worst streaming service. Christopher Nolan, whose relationship with Warner's dates back to 2002's Insomnia, said in a statement to the Hollywood Reporter, I said, okay, make a few movies that people want to see that don't star Batman. Hey, man, what about Inception? Oh, you mean that stupid dream thing that's starring the kid from Growing Pains?
That doesn't understand dreaming?
Added Nolan, Warner Brothers had an incredible machine for getting a filmmaker's work out everywhere, both in theaters and in the home. And they are dismantling it as we speak. They don't even understand what they're losing. Yeah, they're losing people being in a dark room full of others hacking and sneezing and coughing and wheezing on each other while kids run up and down aisles.
Well,
overpriced over like $8 for popcorn. That's what they're losing.
From our perspective, yes. But let's be clear here. They aren't wrong. And I've been saying this for how long, Rob? And that's the thing, as I've said, is, the longer this thing drags out, the less likely the theaters have a chance to bounce back. But the studios still need the theaters. That's what I was saying for all this time. But Warner Brothers just made that decision for everybody. Then that's just because AT&T, and that's because AT&T can afford this. Nobody else really can. That's why they haven't made these massive moves yet.
Exactly. And AT&T selling off little parts of its of what it bought from the Warner Brothers acquisition is not something to be worried about with regards to them trying to make up revenue. They're just cutting the things that they don't feel are going to be useful down the road for their long-term goal. And so right now they're all investing into the streaming service because, number one, that's where they can double dip without you as a customer knowing you're double dipping. Like if they expand out their internet service providing network, you're going to be an AT&T customer paying a monthly fee for internet plus also paying your HBOMax fee. That's two customers for the price of one. Two prices of a service for one customer. They're going to be really happy about that, which is why they really want those numbers up for HBO Max, because then they're just getting, because even if they're not able to provide a service for them from for internet wise, they're still getting that HBO Max subscription. So I mean, it's in their best interest to try and get that service to expand as quickly as possible so that they can be in a comfortable position to compete with Apple TV Plus and Disney Plus and Netflix.
Right, and that's just what I was saying to begin with, is that they're getting left in the dust. Yep. And this was an entirely strategic move on their part to position HBO Max in a place where it's now competing in the streaming war, because before this, there's no way it would be. And again, this may not even work yet. This is still a possible. This is tentative. Yeah. Yeah, this could blow up in their fucking faces. But I do see this probably being the thing that puts HBO Max over the top. I do think there's going to be enough people who are going to be interested in wanting to see all these movies and not have to go to the theater and deal with the shit that Rob just pointed out. Mm-hmm. And they will gladly pay $15 or whatever to sit at home and watch them on HBO Max. Now, was that the end of the article, Rob, or was there some more?
No, it wasn't. Before we go on, I would like to play a highlight from Inception.
Wow. That's almost as good as mine. I fucking knew it.
Wow. On that now infamous morning, Ant Sarnoff, whose ungainly title is Chair and CEO of Warner Media Studio and Networks Group, and Warner Brothers Film Studio Chair Toby Emmerich, called the same guy who made what am I thinking? Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Toby Emmerich.
Toby Emmerich? No, he did the Independence Day and all the disaster movies. Godzilla.
Oh, okay. With Roland Emmerich, right?
Yeah. Or no, Toby Emmerich. Never mind. No, totally different person.
Yeah.
Toby Emmerich, totally different person. My bad.
No,
I was thinking. No, Toby Emmerich his brother is an actor, but Toby Emmerich was the guy who was the head of New Line for years.
Who's Texas Chainsaw guy then?
That would be Toby Hooper.
Oh, okay, different Toby altogether.
No, we're getting our Hoopers, our Tobys and our Emmerichs mixed up here. Is what we're doing. Before you get going here again, Mark C sends in $10. HBO Max gives 30-day windows to many films that have long left theaters, including Warner Brothers films. I'm looking for a library. This is what I get with Disney Plus. Yet, yes, Netflix loses content, but not Netflix produced. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Mark C. And these movies will come back eventually to HBO Max. The reason they're doing the 30-day window thing is, I think, like what Script and I were saying when Andre was still here, is we're getting to the whole, they're trying to find loopholes to get around the streaming business part of it, because that was the thing, is that Wonder Woman already has like a $250 million deal with Netflix. And I think Kong is the same thing. So like, that was the other reason we were talking about the other day on the show, was that HBO Max jumped the gun because they wanted to compete with Disney. They weren't really technically ready to get this thing up and running for like another 2 years. Because all their licenses or all their movies are licensed out yet for the next couple years.
Not only that, they were expecting to have at least 2 or 3 Game of Thrones series to debut last year.
Well, that was the other thing I was told. Yeah,
running with the success of Game of Thrones, the main series, which unfortunately did not work out in anyone's favor. And so, as a reason, because they were pitching those pilots for those alternate shows while HBO Game of Thrones was airing, and it just wasn't getting any traction. And they ended up realizing, holy crap, we've got this release date for HBO Max at the end of 2019, and we don't have a flagship. And they chose not to delay it, because Disney Plus had the flagship and said, yeah, we're going to drop The Mandalorian just before The Rise of Skywalker. And Warner Brothers was like, we can't be behind on that.
And that's why they scrambled for the Snyder Cut. And you're exactly right. And that's exactly what my guy told me, was they were expecting 5 Game of Thrones spinoffs to sell HBO Max that they don't have now.
Which they probably would have got their 60 or 70 million subscribers if the Game of Thrones stuck the landing.
Exactly. That's the problem here. And that's why it all stems back to that.
Benioff and Weiss screwing over Warner Brothers even more so.
And that's exactly what my guy told me, was that that whole situation is what spawned this whole thing, and that they're completely upset about. But anyway, Rob, continue the article. My bad.
Okay. Hold on. Toby Emmerich called heads of major studios agents to drop the bombshell. Warner's was about to smash theatrical windows, sweeping its entire 17-picture 2021 film slate onto its faltering HBO Max streaming service, debuting them on the same day they would open in whatever theaters could admit customers. Surprising to some in the industry, sources say, was the brainchild of Warner Brothers COO Carolyn Blackwood, who, looking at a relatively weak 2021 slate, saw an opportunity to avoid humiliation of potential bad grosses while currying favor with streamer-obsessed higher-ups. Really? The instant response in Hollywood was outrage and a massive girding for battle. Warner's has made a grave mistake, says one top talent agent. Never have this many people been this upset with one entity. Like others, he had spent much of the day dealing with calls from stunned and angry clients. And that swooshing sound you hear, it's the lawyers stropping their blades as they prepare for battle. That Warner's was self-dealing in shifting these movies to its own streamer, perhaps, or that the company acted in bad faith. Some talent reps say the decision affects not only profit participants, but others who have worked on films, as the movie might affect residual payments. They expect and hope that the guilds will get involved. Writers Guild of America declined to comment. Warner's, why can't I focus? The Warner's move poses big, maybe even existential questions. How do theaters survive this supposedly one-time, excused by the pandemic move? Genies are hard to put back in the bottle, and no one believes Warner's intended this to be a temporary move anyway. What damage will be done to exhibitors by training customers that if they sit on their sofas, the biggest movies will come? And will Warner's face serious backlash from important producers, filmmakers, guilds, and on-screen talent? Warner's was the quintessentially talent-friendly filmmaker studio, says one agent. Now Warner's isn't the first place, second place, or third place you want to go. Screw it though. I'll do it. I'll work for Warner Bros. I don't care.
You already get it for free because of me anyway. So
anyway. Yeah, but I'll direct the movie. I'll direct that for you.
Oh hell yeah! I'd make a couple movies for him. Was there anything more?
Just give me an Animaniacs box set. We'll be good. Warner Media opted for this drastic move to play to streaming infatuated Wall Street and redo the botched launch of HBOMax, which has netted a dismal 8.6 million activated subscribers so far. But one prominent agent notes that the top executives at Warner Media and its parent AT&T, CEO John Stankey, Warner Media CEO John Killar, and of course Sarnoff, don't understand the movie business and they don't understand talent relations. While Killar pays what is seen as lip service to movies, industry veterans say Warner's is sacrificing the huge profit that comes from selling movies in multiple formats on multiple platforms around the world. Even before Warner's made its play, there was grumbling among agents that Sarnoff, who has been on the job for more than a year, had to yet get acquainted with key players on the film side or make much of an impression at all. That's why many are focusing on their wrath on Emmerich. Toby's passion is only about managing up, says one agent who represents major Warner's talent. But most of these guys don't even if it was the old studio contract system, then you know what? I can see, but everybody's a free agent now. Everybody signs a movie deal here and there, you know? Isn't that the case?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny you mentioned that, though, because I've kind of said one of the ways they can get around this is by going back to the old studio system. What do you think, Script?
Well, yeah, like right now it's a weird dynamic. So directors and actors kind of have like the sweet spot because they're represented by their agencies, and those agencies are also behaving like producers as well. So they're able to get deals. So you kind of have a studio system within the agencies for that talent. There's currently an issue going on right now with the Writers Guild where those same rules are applying. It's actually kind of being detrimental to films because now writers are now being employees of their agents, which is not the relationship. But so far that hasn't been the case on the actors and directors side of things. But if they go back to like a studio system where, say, they hire you and pay you a weekly rate with regards to making so many productions every so many years, you have a little bit more control, and you also foster a necessary relationship between the ownership and the people responsible for functioning the studio to the actual talent. There's not that distance anymore. And I think that would probably be better because then you actually have a real relationship with the studio and the people that are working there. And it might have to revert to that old style model in order to make something like a streaming service function properly, because you've got to have that, day by day contact and relationship in order to get things done. And when you have that distance and separation, that's where you get people in management that don't understand how the business works. And that's how you get people on the talent side of things that don't understand how the business works. They're just compartmentalized to their own worlds. And when they're not communicating, you get Christopher Nolans who just want to basically burn the bridge down to Warner Brothers, which is the studio that made Christopher Nolan. And he's not going to be able to do all the stuff he does with any other studio because they've seen the numbers of his returns on his films. So
I'm sorry, Script. Who did you say now again?
Christopher Nolan. Yeah. No, we're in a new wild west of film production. That's for sure.
Wiki wow. Well, and here's the funny thing is almost exactly. Well, go ahead, Rob.
Everybody likes a hooky loud. Oh, wrong.
Oh, all right. Well, the funny thing is like almost exactly. Go ahead.
We're all talking about the correct director, though, Tom. Who's at the center of this?
Christopher Nolan.
Okay,
and he's not the only one. Actually, like 24 hours before this, Culture Crave on Twitter dropped a tweet stating, and again, this is 24 hours before this story came out. He said, or they said, I should say, reps for Will Smith, Keanu Reeves, Margot Robbie, Denzel Washington, and more are mad HBO Max didn't treat them the same way as Gal Gadot or Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot was told in advance about Wonder Woman 84 moving to HBO Max and received over $10 million for it. Some people are calling the studio Former Brothers.
Oh.
Ouch. Yeah, this is a major backlash.
That's pretty bad.
I didn't expect a lot of this. I figured they'd have all their ducks in a row because that was what my guy had told me is like they still got to work out a deal with Legendary for Dune and Godzilla, but they're pretty much a done deal is what he told me. Or like they were coming to HBO Max. Like it was going to happen.
You mean they have to work out a deal for Dune. As Hunter would say.
Dune. Well, yeah, because Legendary Films is a producer on both. And I guess they're one of the people who are upset. I can see that being the situation now, and I'm very surprised that AT&T would make this move like this. It seems like one of the most boneheaded moves in cinema history in some ways, but at the same time, the most ballsy. I mean, I really don't. I like most people are just kind of in shock, even though I kind of knew this was coming.
Part of me is wondering is if these agencies and these directors and whatnots bother to even check their email, because there's always that possibility that they did send out a massive memo giving them a little bit of warning to this. Because it just seems like that's what the legal team would advise is like, you got to tell everybody what's going on. Like I can understand Gal Gadot getting that big payday up front, considering how soon that movie was scheduled to release in theaters anyways, and then realizing that, hey, we probably can't pull this off for every theater. So we better at least make the star of this big tentpole film happy and help us sort of grease the wheels for the remaining 2021 slate. And then I wouldn't be surprised if that would just be, yeah, we're doing it for Gal Gadot, and in next month come January, everybody's going to be able to renegotiate a little part of their contract to get a piece of that pie. And for their upcoming films that are going out, it's going to be expensive, but it's going to be them trying to build a bridge. And I would not be surprised if all those options were in place, and before any people like Christopher Nolan or anyone else in the studio system, checked their email, they saw this story hit first, and they're like, "Oh crap! Now I'm upset." Because I've been in situations where you find out, oh yeah, we're going to get a small theatrical release of a movie you're working on. It's going to be 1,000 theaters in the United States, and then you get an email a day before. It's like, oh yeah, that 1,000 theaters is now 300. And yeah, this is the new deal. Sorry. And then it gets announced that's reduced theatrical release, and that's just the nature of the business. But you gotta you have to pay attention.
You could be right, but I'm more apt to think, and especially since we haven't actually seen any cease and desists or any like news drop of any lawsuits actually being filed yet. I think what I said was possibly more correct. And the reason why is because there's a lot of pissed off people, but it doesn't seem like anybody's made any major moves yet because they probably can't. And I think what happened was Warner Brothers made a few deals with Legendary and such, and like the Wonder Woman deal under the guise of COVID. But then when they made this announcement, I mean, you're right. I think they still plan on, ironing out the details of certain things. But I think they kind of used loopholes and certain other things to get around it. And I think that's another reason with the whole 30-day thing. Like there's got to be something somewhere where they got a loophole, because otherwise there's no way they could do that legally. Netflix would be able to sue them for breach of contract.
Would be a breach of conflict. It would be a conflict of interest. And I think the 30-day window is basically that's probably the bare minimum amount that you're going to have for a theatrical release of a film anyways, whether it succeeds or not. You're going to have that 30 days. So I think that's the loophole that they could use for the theatrical side of thing. They're just going to treat HBO Max.
Or could it be possibly like a pay-per-view thing, maybe? Like,
yeah, probably.
For instance, normal pay-per-view is usually the same time as video. But if you go to hotels and stuff like that in certain other places, they have that special advanced pay-per-view, which is the more expensive, where you can watch a movie that's, not brand new, but it's still in theaters.
Yeah, it's not coming down from a theatrical run, as it were.
So I'm wondering if they're not finding some kind of loophole there with that. Because, again, it has to be worded specific way for streaming.
Well, there would be... Yeah. So, like, when it comes to distribution, you have your first window, second window, third window, fourth window, and one of those windows is now streaming. So it looks like what they're doing here is they're saying we are reducing the impact of window 1, which would be your theaters, and we're increasing the impact of, I think, window 3, which I think is streaming, because window 2 is usually your at-home physical media. Usually, maybe they've switched it in the last year or so, but that's probably what they're saying is like, the contracts are still in play. All the same percentages, what have you, is accurate to the first window. It's just we have to reduce it from theaters, and we got to leverage that into the second window part. And we're doing that with our HBOMax streaming service before it goes to the licensed streaming services that we've already made a deal with. And because those services don't take effect until a scheduled date, usually after the theater has done its run, they're not going to be in any violation of contract. And so, there's a lot of legal wording in there that can keep them pretty safe, but also at the same time make them not in violation of contract with the deals they've made with other production houses and directors and actors. So I think the only thing they're really upset about here is the fact that they're probably not going to see the type of prestige that a theatrical release has, because everybody's used to the theatrical release. Everybody's used to the world premiere type of thing. Is there really going to be a world premiere of Wonder Woman 84 in the way that it would be like 2 years ago?
Right. And then that's the thing is, and the reason I think this is because when AMC, when their guys talked about stuff, like they were sounding like, they knew Wonder Woman was happening, but they didn't know about the rest. So it almost sounds to me, and that's what I was saying before, was I don't see any of these major chains carrying these movies, especially Wonder Woman or whatever, if it's going to be on streaming at the same time, because that's traditionally what they've never done, unless there was some kind of deal worked out. And that's almost what it sounded like in the wording that Adam, I can't remember his name, is the head of AMC, was saying in the story we covered yesterday on the main channel morning show. So like, I have this feeling like that's what they did. They wheeled and dealed a little bit, but then they jumped forward and pretty much did exactly what I said they were going to do, but only like they dove in head first. I figured they were just going to stick their toes in. You think it'd just be like getting used to the water before going in for the swim, right? But they decided to cannonball it. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward here, but I saw that tweet and I'm like, this is heating up. This is getting interesting. This is going to change things a lot more than we probably thought. I think things are going to get really messy before they get better. What do you guys think out there? Do you think this is going to kill chain theaters? I do. I really think this is the end of chain theaters. Now, this again, there's an asterisk there for boutique and
repertory theaters
and stuff like that. But I feel like we may have seen the end of AMC's and Regals and all that kind of stuff. What do you think, Rob? You've been quiet.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few. I mean, a lot of boutique theaters are gonna survive because they could play like foreign films and stuff that appeals to a very niche crowd. But yeah, I mean, you're gonna see the fallout from this is going to be severe. It really is. And that's all I got to say about that. Except for
it's going to have it's going to have a pretty significant impact on the economy, because those are good part-time jobs, and then if you get into upper management, they're pretty decent careers to a degree, if that's what you love. And with those facilities not going to be around in the numbers that they once were, there's going to be a lot of people needing to find other things that to do. And if their one passion is movies and whatnot, they're going to find a lot of more limited options than what they had before, which is unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. You know who's going to have to find some other options? Christopher Nolan.
Yeah, he's been a very anti against digital and against streaming services and all those types of things, and I kind of support him a little bit on the digital side thing. I still think film is pretty awesome. You get your best quality out of it right now, but digital's catching up. It's going to take some time, but it'll get there eventually. But for right now, that there's reason for film, use film.
Well, digital's easier to insert effects into and stuff like that.
Easier for certain effects. Also, you can have longer takes because a camera reel, your standard one, is about 10 minutes. And if you want to do a longer take than 10 minutes, you're going to have to get a modified reel, and those are a pain in the butt. And cinematographers hate you for it because it's heavier for them to use. But absolutely, there's a lot of convenience with digital. And I think, Nolan's a little bit of the past in that regard. He's more on the pretentious nature of a film as opposed to making the art sort of speak for itself and do something fun. So he's gonna have he's not gonna get the next movie he wants. He's not gonna get whatever $200 million he needs to make another Nolan film. Not just with the change of platform from theater to streaming service, but also with the fact that the last two movies he made weren't really the best performing in the way that Warner Brothers was hoping.
Yeah, let's be clear here. That's why I feel like we're getting a lot of resistance from guys like Nolan and a lot of other directors and actors, is because of the specific fact that the big paydays are gone now. Especially if you're an executive producer on these things, it's usually why you are, is so you get an extra payday on the other end. I know that's why Gal Gadot was probably paid that $10 million. It's because she probably had points.
Yep.
And they just
she had
probably,
some back-end points that they're never going to be able to give her without a theatrical release.
So they're like, look, we did this kind of figuring. We figure we'd make this much. We'll throw you a check for $10 million. Everything's good. Okay. Dirty Soul Monkey sends in a £5 super. That's 5.
Yep.
Pounds. Yeah. I always get euros and pounds mixed up. £5 super chat. Why can't studios use PPV over their own websites? Why does it have to be a streaming service? Stream movies direct from themselves, 100% profit. That's kind of what they're doing here. And that's exactly what we saw with Mulan. And there was a lot of pushback on that. And I do know that Disney, I've heard from a couple of different places that Disney is going to continue to try and do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if other streaming people decide to do that as well. And one of the big reasons why they do it on the streaming service as opposed to something right off a website is you basically then have to set up on your website a whole like streaming platform deal. And when you already have a platform, you just use the platform. You know, it's easier to have. And to run a lot of these streaming services, they're kind of wonky on the PC compared to if you just get their app on like some kind of streaming box or something like that.
Oh yeah, if you can get their app for the PC, but if you're running it through a website, that's when things kind of go a little haywire-y.
Yeah, I hate most of them through websites.
Yeah, like I've got like the Disney Plus app on my PC, which is also plugged into my Blu-ray player and TV, so I can watch it without any issues, because I don't like to do that stuff on my phone or what have you. But the reason that they want the streaming service is not just for a pay-per-view. They want the subscription. The subscription model is basically guaranteed money, and they're borrowing this model not just off of what Netflix does, but also off the video game industry for their subscription service, like World of Warcraft with Blizzard. They made a ton of money on that video game for years, and I think they're still making some huge bank on that. And they're thinking like, hey, worst case scenario, a streaming service for HBOMax or Disney Plus makes like 5% of what a video game streaming service, their subscription service makes, which is still enough for them to manage their operating costs and make a nice chunk of change to invest in new productions. So they're hoping on that type of model to work for not just video game entertainment, but also, you know, normal television and movie entertainment. And I can't blame them for wanting to try that, because if you can guarantee a $6.99 deposit from 73 million people a month, you're looking at a $6 billion return every year. And for HBO Max, which is double the price, or a little bit more than double the price, they can get half that. They're able to financially compete against Disney Plus.
There you go. All right. Was there any major news other than that to really discuss tonight? Because I think we've pretty much covered everything here. We got High Council here in just under 90 minutes. Mecca's got a celebration coming up, does she not, Rob?
Yeah, actually, she does. Mecca crossed the 60,000 subscriber mark. Congratulations! And
congratulations.
Oh yeah, if head over to her Twitter, you can if you head over to her Twitter, you can't vote for Idris Elba, but you can vote if you want her to do a 60,000 subscriber stream. So head over to her Twitter, vote yes or else. I'm not gonna say what the or else is.
Yeah, but I gave her a maximum effort puppy. There you go.
There you go.
All right, so go send Mecca some love and go vote for a 60K stream. Stephen Otten sends in $5. Thank you so much. What are the chances that Nolan or other filmmakers will break and will break with Nolan or other filmmakers will break from more. Oh, okay. Like, will they?
Ties, I guess. Yeah.
It's a good possibility. Some will. Warner Brothers used to be known more as the talent friendly studio, but again, we got to reiterate this is more to do with AT&T and not Warner proper. So I have a feeling they will say that to a lot of their talent, right? Script, they'll be like, look, this is AT&T, this isn't us. We'll work this out. Don't leave us, because especially Nolan is one of their babies.
It is. They are one of his babies, but I mean, I have only heard a little bit of rumblings, not from enough people to really make it matter, but only a little bit of rumblings saying that if they did get rid of Nolan, they'd be saving themselves, $1 billion a year.
Well, there is that too, because I mean, how much of a return are they really getting on him outside of the prestige factor?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But I mean, it all depends on. I think it depends more on how the filmmakers react to this. If they react more severely than what this article recently has denoted, Warner Brothers will just be happy to wash their hands from them and say, listen, we created you. We can create another generation just as easily. Bye-bye. And they wouldn't be wrong. And after that, what's going to happen with Christopher Nolan? The only option he's going to be able to go to that's going to meet the price range he wants is Apple. And Apple is probably willing to do it. But even though they have some pretty significant numbers for their subscribers, I don't hear many people talking about the stuff that they've got on that platform. And so, yeah, like you got to weigh in those options for you.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Apple's a little bit of a sleeping beast in this whole thing. Like,
because it has over 30 million subscribers at the Apple TV Plus, and yet what shows of theirs are in the news aside from the upcoming Foundation series that I know of?
I mean, they got themselves a little bit of notice with the whole Charlie Brown thing, but yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised they didn't go for like Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure they did bid on it, but
yeah, no, it's a weird game. I mean, we know how Disney's doing in the standing right now, and one thing that to sort of also consider is that come January, if WandaVision doesn't really knock it out of the park, what do they have after WandaVision that's going to keep people maintaining their subscription status until the next bout of films or TV series? Because that's what we're expecting Wednesday, right? Is some sort of big announcement to sort of say, yes, we're still a major player. We're not going to be risking the loss of all of these, of at least half of our subs after The Mandalorian and WandaVision stop their runs.
We're going to be doing a new Disney 18 Plus. It's going to be
Disney 18 Plus. Going to have Black Widow, coming on in March or something.
Yeah, that's the rumor going around, folks. Either they're going to flip Hulu over or start an entire new version of it on
an additional tier, like Disney Plus, and then you pay the $6.99. Then you have the Disney 18 Plus, which is another $4.99 on top of that, maybe, or some sort of price. So that's a one-time package thing. I mean, it'd be smart for them to make it a one-time package thing as opposed to like a completely new application and all that other stuff.
Well, no, but it'll be something you pay extra every month for, though.
It'd definitely be something you pay extra. Yeah, absolutely.
See, Tom, now you have maximum effort puppy. I'm wondering what we would call this guy. Because there's maximum effort puppy, there's minimum effort puppy, there's lazy puppy.
Yeah, we got Oscar-winning puppy. Don't forget about Oscar-winning puppy.
Oscar-winning puppy. Oh, check him out! Oh, he's so cool.
You never seen Oscar-winning puppy yet?
No. Oh, look at him.
We got a Fenton too. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, Fenton. But don't say we're not cat people. We just here we don't like cats. We do. We love cats. Just they're more. They would have to look like
Holy
this.
cow, that's a big cat.
That's a tiger.
That's not a cat.
That is technically it is a cat.
That guy's gonna get his ass kicked. What the fuck is he doing? My God, stop it, man.
That's a freaking tiger or puma.
Ay.
This guy lives in Russia. He adopted a puma.
Kitty's not, and what the fuck?
In Russia.
What the hell are you doing? Oh my God! Jesus Christ! Give me a heart attack.
In North America, Tiger King's a rarity. In Russia, it's a Saturday night.
Right? Kitty wants to go out. You're lucky he didn't bite your face. My God.
Marissa called the murder kitten. Yeah, that's right.
No shit. I thought he was going to eat him. Yeah, like Sandra. Yeah. Jesus, yeah, that's the cat. That's a fucking mountain lion, right, Jesse? Yeah. That ain't no cat. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
That guy also has a cheetah he's keeping an eye on.
I don't believe you.
That's yeah. Yeah, I stumbled upon that guy's channel by accident, and I'm like, no way. And I've been mesmerized by it. I'm like waiting for the moment they turn and eat him.
I'm gonna say this, yeah, because I got a cat named Asshole for a reason. Like, cats don't care. They have no sense of, like, if I leave, my cat's not thinking, oh, I miss Tom. He's thinking, who's gonna fucking feed me?
Exactly.
I might have to eat the dog.
They're not fully domesticated, that is for sure.
Cats don't care. They really don't. I mean,
and he's just romping with him like he's like a regular pet.
Yep. And then he's going to wake up with that cat dying on his foot and then screaming in pain.
Yeah, what if in the middle of the night that cat gets hungry and just decides, fuck it, I'm going to take a chunk out your ass? I mean, my cat's done that to me.
Maximum effort kitty.
No shit. It's like, don't fuck with me, kitty, is more like it. The cougar way. Oh Jesus!
Grand Theft Auto. There's a like a radio commercial. Serious cougar. Like, yeah, that's a serious cougar, all right.
Jesus. I could not do that.
No. Well, today is actually December 8th. We just want to say it's 40 years since.
Yeah, sadly.
Sad anniversary. Yeah. So,
fuck you, Mark David Chapman.
Yeah. I remember Private Parts when he said that guy, Ross Buckingham. He goes, Ross, were you a fan of the Beatles? Yes, I was, Howard. That guy, Mark David Chapman, he must be having a big laugh in prison. Ross, say with me, I want to kill Mark David Chapman. He just couldn't get it out. He was just trying to.
How has he not been killed yet? That's what I don't understand.
He's probably not in with the general population.
Gotta be, because you got to imagine day one.
It's got to be a fan in prison.
You know? Well, you would think like at least 100 fucking guys that are on death row that were just chomping at the bit. You know what I mean? Like, because there's guys in there that aren't getting out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they got no issue fucking with a child molester or child murderer or somebody who kills John Lennon.
Get Rob to review Yoko. Ooh, yoy, 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 yoy. 1966. You lived in London. You had no idea who this guy was. Yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm willing to take that bet, Olivia America.
That's not a bobcat. No, I think he's right. Bobcats do not make good pets at all.
Yeah, no, I'm not willing to make that bet.
In Russia, cat plays with you.
Yeah, pretty much.
I watched Borat 2 the other day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
I haven't watched
it. It wasn't horrible, but who's that girl playing his daughter? She is good.
Oh, yeah. She's a character actor. She's been in a couple of small things.
Oh,
but, yeah, she's really good. In fact, their story was the best part of that movie. All the other stuff was kind of meh.
Oh, yeah. Sandra Hammerslag. Yes. We also lost Chuck Yeager.
Yeah, Chuck Yeager passed away too. Yeah.
First man to go faster than the speed of sound.
Yeah.
And not in the bedroom. But to do it in the brave way, like a real man.
If you've never seen the movie The Right Stuff, it's actually a great film.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. That's shit. Yeah, we went way out. Now it's turned into a MEAD.
My new icon here, my new avatar. I remember Boris dressing up as Santa Claus. So I
am Santa Claus.
Ho ho ho! Now stick 'em up.
Oh ho ho! Where is Moose and Squirrel? We have present for you. Just get in bag.
It's uncanny.
This is different kind of Santa. You have to get in bag to get present. Mrs. Claus, right? Yes, darling. I can't do it.
What's that, boss, darling?
If the moose and squirrel get in bag, then we tie the knot, and then they can't get out. And then we take them to Bo's Bad Enough.
Oh, I still love that cartoon. So well written.
Damn you, moose and squirrel!
What do you think of Rocky Bullwinkle, their script doctor? I mean, it's so so well written.
I watched it as a kid and I loved it, and then when I watched it as an adult, I got more of the jokes and loved it more.
Yeah, then you realize why it's such cheap animation. It's like these motherfuckers. This is like the South Park before South Park.
Yeah. Well, I just love the fact that you got What's the Matter You? And then the Wayback Machine.
What's the Matter You?
Yeah. The Guns of Abalone. Yeah. That's like Veronica Lake, The Treasure of Montezuma.
I always like the alternate titles. I love that bit. Because it's always like, I can't think of one offhand, but like, you know.
It's next time for The Big Kaboom or...
Yeah. The sun may never come out again.
Yeah.
It was usually something more obnoxious and longer than that, but you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, those bits were always funny. Twisted fairy tales were always good.
Aesop's Fables were good.
The Aesop's Fables. That's what I mean. Yeah. Or weren't they called Twisted Fairy Tales, or is that something else I'm thinking of? Fractured Fairy Tales. That's what it is. Yes. Yeah.
Well, close enough.
I've got the box set. I just haven't watched them all yet. I watched like the first episode and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And then I just, did I get that for you too or no?
No, you didn't. One of the best ones is when they're playing football.
Oh, listen how disappointed he sounded. Guess what Rob's getting for No, you didn't, motherfucker. You got one for yourself, you selfish bastard.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Hey, I did get you Transformers, Batman and Batman Beyond, and MASH.
Oh, Batman Beyond on Blu-ray is gorgeous.
What else did I get you?
Batman Beyond was the best show on television for a short time. It really was.
Well, when I saw that on sale, I'm like, I got to get that for Rob because he's always talking about Batman Beyond. So
Batman Beyond is unbelievable. It's so good. It was so good for a time. Like I said, it was just criminal. Like the animated series should not be this good. It pretty much picks up right where the Bruce Timm animated series leaves off spiritually,
I've never actually watched
there's like a 20-year gap, and then they do another 20-year gap after that.
Yeah.
I've never actually watched it. I mean, I remember that when it came on, I don't know. I fell out of the Batman series by that point, and I mean, I've got it on Blu-ray now, but I've just never watched it yet.
Why'd you stop using the suit? It gave me a heart attack.
Strain on the heart. Yeah, strain on the heart.
Wussy.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know what happens if I have a heart attack? I just keep on going. And I eat some more, like, super hot Doritos, and then that gives me a kick and boost. And then it makes my heart go boom, 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 boom. Sometimes cocaine works.
Your fists are natural defibrillators, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like King Kong, man. You just start pounding the shit. Like, don't stop working on me. I'll give you another cheeseburger, I promise. Okay, we're good.
You know what you could do? You could get that clip of Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live where he's doing like the Bears commentary with a bunch of guys. And he's like pounding his chest. And
where he dies like 10 times in the middle of the stage.
And you just like put a Bat Tom mask over top of him.
Those were always great. Oh, by the way, Rob, somebody told me Peacock does indeed have all of SNL. So I think Midnight's Edge will have to spring for a Peacock.
Oh, Peacock's free, man. You just pay. You just get the free subscription, and it's got.
Is everything free though, or is it like Hulu used to be?
The model that I've seen so far advertised, because it's not fully in Canada yet, but the stuff that they're saying here is you can sign up with a free account, and the only stipulation is that it has commercial ads in between where they normally would be for their shows, which makes it basically
commercials.
TV. You have another tier which is a premium where I think it's no commercials on most of their shows and only commercials on a couple of like their more like prime, like their newer series or something like that. And then you got a full tier that's 0 ads.
Alex Klutzman, he's tweeting and retweeting his trailer for Clarice.
Yeah, I saw that. Shit, I forgot to bring that up when Andre was here. I did see that story, yeah.
What we did, the video we did, a year ago?
Not quite, but close to it.
Beginning of this year.
yeah, it was a while ago.
That of that script that leaked and Robert Meyer Burnett and everybody else said is terrible.
Because it is terrible.
It's terrible.
It's really bad.
It's
terrible.
What's wrong with terrible knucklehead?
Terrible. What kind of knucklehead would make a Silence of the Lambs remake bit without the Hannibal Lecter? Hannibal Lecter's one made the show. This is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to check out the trailer. It's just going to be terrible, but...
This is the tagline. The silence is over. Yeah, let's hope your silence is beginning, Alex. Jeez.
This is terrible. I will let you know, Willie. I have the entire Blu-ray box set. That is one worth picking up, especially when you see it on sale on Amazon. Because it's generally pretty pricey, but like it's worth it because it has all the movies, like all the Wolfman movies, all the Dracula movies, all the Frankenstein movies, all the Mummy movies, all of them. Creature, all of them.
Doesn't by chance have the Abbott and Costello companion movies?
Yes, it does as well.
Oh, yeah, I got to get that now.
In fact, it is so complete that you even get doubles of some because they just took all their Uber box sets of each one and just threw them in a big box set. Yeah, it's like usually like 129, I think, but if you can find it for like 100 or less, that's a hell of a steal.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great box set. I recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
But I would imagine that those would probably be on there, but I'll check if I get a chance here. And if I remember, I will check in with you.
I'm watching. You said that about the Transformers box set. I'm watching G.I. Joe. They have a free stream on YouTube, 24 hours a day, free stream. I didn't realize how many guys did voices for the same characters.
Like 6 guys, and then they did 20 voices each.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Peter Cullen does. I think he does a couple voices on G.I. Joe, and everybody just. Well, if you're not Casey Kasem or
someone with a distinct enough voice, yeah,
or you pretty much got work on both series because they were both.
Now on for the countdown.
They're both Hasbro properties, yeah. Hasbro Claster, which was just a distribution arm of Hasbro. All right, people. What are we talking about? I don't know. Let's just get We're through the looking glass.
Pedro, that is hilarious.
Oh Lord.
What's funny is we have one of my writers here on the show. He's actually written some shit for me. And one of the other writers who's done some writing for us has been Doomcock, if you've checked out our Star Trek videos. But sometimes I need a better writer, but then sometimes I come up with some gold, I do admit.
You do come up with some gold, but when you need something, you usually send me a DM. It's like, hey, I have this idea. What do we got?
Yeah. Oh, my recent one. Should we talk about it, Rob? Or should we just...
we can surprise people.
Okay. Well, we got to work on it a little bit. And I was going to say we should almost try it out on the show sometime, but I'm going to introduce a new superhero into the mix. It's a famous superhero. But it's basically the Bat Tom version of another famous superhero.
Oh, nice.
We'll tell you right after the show. So.
I was thinking of playing him more like John Travolta.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! I work hard on my head, and you hit it. Okay.
That's not bad, but I was thinking more like along the lines of Phil Hartman.
Oh, like a Troy McClure type of thing?
Yeah. Yep. Well, should we just say who it's going to be?
Where were you on the night? Where were you on the night of July 29th?
I don't know. You'll have to come up with something, but I gave him the impetus or whatever the word is I'm looking for. Willie, you are an asshole because you figured it out. But he's not gonna. He's gonna be the Bat Tom universe version of Superman.
Almost like, kind of like Zap Brannigan.
Exactly. He's full of himself. He's a dumb jock.
Dumb farm boy jock.
Lois Lane.
So we're trying to find the right voice. And I want Rob to play him.
Would it be funny if he also acts like a journal activist too? Or
journal activist. It says, I'm going down to cover the Occupy Wall Street movement. Those dirty hippies won't know what they're in for.
All right, so should we go with that voice or John Travolta?
Does that mean does that mean she has to be Wonder Woman?
Like, oh my God, Tully, maybe.
Wonder Woman played by Brie Larson.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna smash the patriarchy.
Let's continue this conversation where we can conduct it in bed, rather sexually.
That's probably closer to what I was thinking, but I'm not totally unsold on the John Travolta one either.
So would they form the Just Us League of America?
Well, we'll eventually get more. I gotta build this shit, man. Do you know how long it's gonna take me to build a Superman?
What kind of a man would go neutral?
Superman's gonna be tougher to build than Batman. Batman's rather easy. Superman, on the other hand, he's got a little bit more moving parts, and yeah.
Well,
the real Ghostbusters, great writing and voices. Very true. Very true.
Oh, yeah, those first 3 seasons are amazing.
Keena, I'm gonna fuck this name up. Keena Quina. Is that how you say that?
Keena Quina.
I hope you got your €2 worth for that. Us fucking your name up so badly. Script has to be Aquaman.
Aquaman. Okay. Batman, you go fly the Batplane. Wonder Woman, you tie him up with the golden lasso of truth. And Aquaman, why don't you go talk to some fish?
I'm gonna take a swim over here.
Why are you always being so damn bossy?
Because I'm the man of steel, and you're only the man of battle.
You're a man of stealing the spotlight. Jesus. Well, when you do everything.
When you can fly without running out of gas, give me a call.
Go fuck yourself, Boy Scout. I know your weakness.
And which is?
Lois Lane. And you like puppies.
That's right. Who doesn't love puppies?
Joker's kind of mean to him sometimes.
That's why he's the Joker. And that joke's getting old.
I don't know why he's called the Joker. He's awfully mean. Yeah, I do need a better writer. Script, come on. The fuck here. No, I'm not so sure now. I want to know. I wonder what the audience thinks. Should he go more with a John Travolta voice or more with the
Zap Brannigan?
Zap Brannigan. Well, if we ever do Lex, I'll do Lex as, of course, the great Lex Luthor.
Oh yeah, Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman coming back, of course, because I'm surrounded by morons. I'm the greatest criminal mind of our time.
The more fear you make, the more loot you take.
That's right.
Shut up.
All right. All right, we've run this into the ground.
Absolutely. Well, we're getting more for Zap than we are for Travolta, so I think that speaks. You do a pretty good Zap. I wouldn't say it's a Phil Hartman so much, but it is definitely a Zap Brannigan kind of voice or whatever.
Well, Zap Brannigan is Billy West, right? So
yeah, it's Billy West doing Phil Hartman, but yeah.
They're doing Phil Hartman.
Yeah, how about Superman as Larry Fine? Hey, what's the big idea, Luthor?
Oh, if you could do like a drunk George Reeves.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. I could probably do a better George. Because I said, can you do like Tim Daly? And he's like, because isn't that the guy who does the voice of Superman or whatever? Yeah.
For the animated, yeah, or George Newborn. Yep. He's the other guy.
He's like, well, I may be able to do George Reeves. Well, wasn't George Reeves always drunk?
Yeah, that's why you just make him really Superman super drunk the entire time.
Well, Superman really couldn't get drunk. That's the joke, I think. But
did you ever notice
he's on kryptonite ale?
Did you ever notice the old Superman show though? They would unload a revolver, bang, 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 bang. 6 bullets would bounce off his chest, and then the bad guy would throw the gun at Superman, and he would duck.
Yep, he wouldn't catch it.
Write that down for a bit.
There it is.
There you go, Rob. Write that down for a bit. And George Costanza's Superman. I don't know about that.
Bullets don't hurt him, but guns do. There's a thing, right?
I have to fly all over and save people? It's too much pressure, Jerry. Too much.
Better yet, Jerry Seinfeld is Superman. What's the deal? I gotta fly.
What's the deal with kryptonite? Especially red kryptonite. It makes me fat. It makes me small. I don't get it. Why is it red when kryptonite is green?
Oh, Bobcat? Shit. I already do his voice as Jason, so I don't know. He might work better as like Aquaman. Like, I don't know, like
or maybe the Flash, because that's kind of he talks stuttered. A little irony there.
I don't picture Bobcat Goldthwait as a Flash though. Like more as somebody like I don't know. I'd have to think. He'd do it better as like a bad guy voice, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to think on that one. Forrest Gump. Yeah, that one's a little too overused. All right, folks. We got to get this wrapped up. We've got High Council in less than an hour, or just about an hour. Mecca's going to be there, of course. And we have Comics Division tonight as a guest. Tomorrow morning. What was that?
So don't forget to head over to Mecca's Twitter and vote for her stream. You cannot vote for Idris Elba, though.
You should be able to share the link for that in the chat, Rob, if you want to. If not, I'll try to do it here if I can find it.
I don't have the chat up, so.
And then, let's see here.
I can't. Can you post into the comments chat? No, you can't from here. From StreamYard.
No, I can, but you can't. Yeah.
Curse you, StreamYards. So, yeah. So go ahead and if you want to do a 60K stream. All right. And we'll see you guys. Will we see you later? You'll see. Well, Tom will see you later.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll pop up somewhere. But yeah, we'll be on the High Council here in just about an hour. And then tomorrow morning, it looks like we got Lauren Chen, and I'm working on another cool guest for Friday. So stay tuned.
And check back that guy's channel and see if the cougar eats him.
No shit, right?
Watching.
I can't believe he hasn't yet. He must treat that cougar real good off camera. That's all I know. Dr. Coffin Nails wants a Fenton. I think we can leave on a Fenton.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Rob?
They go through 300 pounds of meat, $300 worth of meat a month.
That's why that's why he loves them, there. Because they feed that kitty good. That's a lot of meat.
That is.
All right, folks. Take care, everybody. We love you.